What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to the Crypto Catch Up. Of course, your number one place to catch up on crypto. Well, the crypto world is going absolutely nuts right now, and Bitcoin has had some insane pieces of news that I want to talk about today. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into it. Now, before we dive into the news, let's take a quick look at what's going on from the force of fundamental and a technical perspective, just so we can know what's really happening in this world of crypto. So looking at Bitcoin here, what we can see is that its price is still in that chop upwards that we've been talking about. You know, sometimes what Bitcoin's price is going to do, especially as it does start to approach a massive level of resistance, like the $95,000 level, is it'll start to do what's called, again, chop, where of course you start going upwards vertically, then you start going like this, boom, 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 boom. Imagine you're like chopping onions or something, that up and down, up and down, up and down. That's what Bitcoin's price is doing right now. Now, what I've come to recognize recently with Bitcoin is that when its price enters into these chop periods, it usually breaks upwards. And of course, there is no guarantee of that happening, but I just want to show you what I'm noticing, right? Look at every single time we've seen this chop recently and what's happened afterwards. We saw it right here on the micro, in which we went up, chop, 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 straight up. We saw more from the midterm, boom, chop, 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 straight up. And you can even see it in some of those previous moves back there, right? And so with that in mind, whenever we do start to see Bitcoin's price kind of going into this little chop period, I'm starting to wonder whether or not we're going to get that push towards 95,000. I told you all that Bitcoin is kind of on the fast track right now to its 1.618 Fibonacci extension zone to $95.3 thousand, and it does seem as if our predictive target, or where we thought Bitcoin's price was going to go in the midterm, is finally possibly coming true. And so although there is no true way of knowing what's going to happen here, I would say that Bitcoin's probably at least 2 or 3 days away max from this thing breaking out either towards the upside or the downside. And so things are definitely starting to heat up, and Bitcoin's price is looking better and better and better. Now, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little bit of Bitcoin yourself on up to 500x leverage, even though I don't recommend 500x leverage, you can check out that BTCc link down below. I've been doing a bunch of trading over here, guys. It is a non-KYC or VPN necessary platform, meaning for you to sign up and start trading, you don't need to KYC, meaning you don't need to hand over your private information, but they are going to give you 10% bonuses back on your first time deposits. This means that, you know, hypothetically, guys, if you deposit $3,000, they're going to give you back $300 for you to use to start trading, to start making gains with. Say you turn that into $800, guys, that profit is your profit. You can withdraw it, spend it, do whatever you want, and they're going to, again, give you this 10% deposit back on all deposits over $500 and less than $100,000. So go check that out down below. It's absolutely ridiculous. One of the best deals I've ever put together, and I will link it down there for you. Now, moving a little bit forward, okay, let's take a look at what's going on with the fundamentals, because as Bitcoin's price is pushing upwards, we're actually starting to get some pretty good signs. Now, the first set of signs that I'm noticing are what's really happening with the liquidations. Because although Bitcoin's price is pushing upwards, which historically speaking, when Bitcoin's price pushes upwards like this, what will happen is that liquidations to the downside are way up here, and liquidations to the top side are way down here. And that's usually on the 1 day, that's usually on the 7 day, that's definitely usually on the 30 day. And it is still somewhat on the 30 day, but what I am really noticing here on the 1 day is that it's not the case. What we're seeing right now is that the liquidations to the top side are still pretty high, and the ones to the bottom side aren't heavily outweighing them. And what this means is that even though Bitcoin's price is moving upwards, the bears are still confident that it's not going to continue upwards, and they're continuing to short, opening up those leverage trades, leaving them liquidatable to the top side. And the bulls, they're not like overreacting right now. They're not going in with too much leverage, too much extreme leverage on 100x or 200x or 500x, whatever. They're keeping it casual and they're keeping it relaxed, and their liquidation levels aren't super big right now, or at least big enough to heavily outweigh the topside liquidations. And typically what a moment like this means is that our odds, or the opportunity of continuing to the upside, are very strong over the midterm and the long term. Why? We have short traders who are willing and ready to be liquidated if this price keeps going up, and our long traders aren't over leveraged to the sense that they're doing too much, too far, too fast to get liquidated very quickly and to stop this price movement to the upside. So what we're seeing right here is actually extremely impressive for Bitcoin. It's not normal, and I think it does paint a picture that for the long term, things could actually be looking pretty good, so that even if, you know, Bitcoin's price does pull back a little bit, it's very likely that we do continue to get a move towards the upside even after that pullback. So I love the fact that we're seeing liquidation still somewhat steady, even though Bitcoin's price is pulling back, because when we're in a moment of extreme greed like we're in right now, as you can see, this isn't usually what this looks like. Things are usually heavily weighted towards a pullback happening for a liquidation, and that's not what we're seeing. So it's looking pretty good, and I think that's more of a telltale sign that the bulls are very confident and the bears are still being delusional. And that's a perfect formula for this market to continue upwards. Now, speaking about this market continuing upwards, let's get into the news, because man, oh man, did we get a piece of news. And I actually will let you guys know, I know we just did a little technical analysis and fundamental analysis and stuff like that. I will mention to you all, if you do want even more of that, I do have a private community, which is linked down below. Guys, for it's $5 a month, you're going to get access to not only just daily fundamental analysis reports, daily technical analysis reports, and my thoughts and insights about news and events and stuff, but I also did just recently release a crash course for technical analysis for beginners, and it's available for those people in that $5 a month tier. So you can get courses, daily TA, daily FA, and much more, all linked down below. Or for as little as $1 a month, you can just join the community, come talk to me, ask some questions, and much more. So feel free to go check that out again down below. But let's go into the news, because again, the news has been nuts. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, the man, the myth, the legend, comes in and buys an additional 51,000 Bitcoin for $4 billion, which is so insane. Now, this now really puts them on the fast track to 42 billion. Shout out to Bitcoin Archive for putting this together, because it's insane. MicroStrategy, of course, did say recently that they had that plan to buy $42 billion worth of Bitcoin over the next year. And what you can see, or the next coming years, and what you can see here, they've already hit 60% of next year's 10 billion Bitcoin acquisition target, which is absolutely insane. They bought 6.6 billion in 2 weeks since announcing the $42 billion ambition. Their 2025 total target is 10 bill, and Saylor might just pass that by next week with another purchase. Absolutely insane. They are accelerating. The rate of purchasing is accelerating, and being able to catch them realistically, almost going to be impossible. I mean, it would take a company with trillions of dollars. It's almost going to be impossible. So absolutely insane news there from Michael Saylor. The double down has been absolutely wild, and I cannot wait to see what this comes to. I mean, he might be considered one of the most, the biggest investment geniuses that has ever been, especially if Bitcoin does hit $250,000 one day. Absolutely wild. Going a little bit forward, we do have some smaller pieces of news. Let's see if I can zoom that in a little bit for you. There you go. Global healthcare group Cosmos Health adopts Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset, just as we figured we would continue to see from some of these major companies. The OCC releases notice saying that they're preparing to list spot Bitcoin ETF options, just more liquidity, more options for institutions to be able to get in. A public company named Samir Scientific buys another 215 Bitcoin for 17.7 million, which is not the hugest thing ever, but pretty cool. We got public listed Mara Holdings to raise 700 million to buy more Bitcoin, so nearly $1 billion themselves. And then lastly, of course, we did see Polish presidential candidates, I'm not going to try that one, says that Poland should also keep its currency reserves in Bitcoin. So we're seeing the development. I mean, the game theory is happening. The demand is so heavily outweighing the supply. It's almost insane. And whenever you see people like Michael Saylor like this leading the charge and being so successful, I think it's only going to continue. So this news has been absolutely insane. The fact that we're seeing the fundamentals balancing out and holding up well while Bitcoin's price is melting upwards is an absolutely crazy combination. It just goes to show how truly bullish this market is, and I'm glad we're all a part of the ride. So with that in mind, I just wanted to give you a full-blown update as to what is going on, why it's so crazy, and what all we're expecting. And don't forget, if you do want to trade a little Bitcoin yourself on up to 500x leverage without needing the KYC to start trading, you can check out that BTCc link down below. And if you do think that the information in this video is valuable and you want more, I do have a private community, which is linked down below as well. We just released our very first course for beginners. So check all that stuff out down below. Let me know what you think, and I can't wait to catch up with you all next time. Peace out, everybody.